Okay, this is a call to order of a special meeting of the Bridgeport Board of Education. Today is Monday, August 24th, and the time is 6:05 p.m. Madam Secretary, would you please take the roll?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Miss Allen,
Present.
Mr. Benahan,
Present.
Mr. Lombard,
Here.
Miss Martinez,
Here.
Mr. Sokolovic, Mr. Sokolovic.
Present.
Okay. Mr. Taylor, Mr. Weldon,
Present?
Mr. Ellingsworth,
Present.
Bobby Brown, present. I believe that's everyone.
Okay, we have a quorum. Tonight's sole agenda item is discussion and possible action regarding magnet tuition litigation. This is an update from counsel. John Muturla from the City Attorney's Office is here. This item qualifies for executive session because we're going to receive an update from counsel and he may seek some direction from us. So I would seek a motion to recess the public meeting and move into executive session to discuss the magnet tuition litigation, and that the people who would be present in that executive session would be members of the board who are present and attending virtually, Superintendent Testani and Attorney Materla. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
So
So
moved.
moved.
Moved by Mr. Illingworth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Benahan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the time is noted as being 6:07. We're going to stay in the room, and IT is going to disable the YouTube channel, and the other parties are going to leave the room.
It's
So let us know, Jeff, when
just
we're
for everyone.
Not yet. We gotta close this one out and then we'll go to the next.
It's knowing we're live.
That was on purpose. Sokolovic did that.
It's a wise
I
man
did
that
it while he
Joseph
was
Gollivant.
We're all set? Okay. Okay, we have come back into the public meeting. In the interim, since we called the meeting to order, Board Member Chris Taylor has joined the meeting, and Board Member and Secretary Bobby Brown has switched from virtual to in-person. So I'm going to seek a motion to authorize council to proceed in the litigation regarding magnet school tuition in accordance with the discussion held in executive session.
Second.
So
It
moved.
was moved by Ms. Brown, seconded by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, the ayes have it. Motion carries. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Benahan. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed. I'm just teasing.
You lose. Time is noted as being 6:54 PM. Do we want 5 minutes before we go into the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is a call to order of the regular meeting for August 2020. Today's date is, meeting was scheduled for 6:30 PM, but because the prior special meeting ran over, starting it now, time is noted as being 7:01 PM. If you'd all rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Sure. Miss Allen,
Those who are participating virtually, if you'd unmute yourselves.
Miss Allen,
Not there.
Okay, Ms. Allen is not here.
Mr. Benahan,
Present.
Mr. Ellingsworth,
Present.
Mr. Lombard,
Here.
Miss Martinez,
Nope.
Ms. Martinez is not here.
Mr. Sokolovic,
Present.
Mr. Taylor,
Here in person.
Mr. Weldon,
Present, in person.
Bobby Brown present.
Okay, we have a quorum. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Mr. Postolowski, you indicated there are two individuals who have signed up. Okay. Yeah, if it's part of the Q&A, we'll do that. So there's no public comment people present. Okay. Next item on the agenda is approval of various board meeting minutes. First one is of the special meeting of August 19th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There-
Second.
Moved by Mr. Ellingworth, seconded by Ms. Brown. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Mr. Taylor abstains. Next is the minutes of the special meeting of August 13th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Ellingworth,
Second.
second by Mr. Benahan. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Mr. Taylor abstains. Special meeting, July 23rd, 2020. Minutes of that meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Illingworth. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Benahan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Mr. Taylor abstains.
Surprise, surprise.
Special meeting, July 1st, 2020. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Ms. Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Benahan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Mr. Taylor and Mr. Lombard abstain. Regular meeting of June 22nd, 2020. Regular meeting, June 22nd, 2020. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to
Anyone?
approve.
Ms. Brown, motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Benahan. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Abstain.
Mr. Taylor and Mr. Illingworth abstain.
It's contagious.
Special meeting of June 22nd, 2020. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Benahan. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Mr. Taylor abstains. Are you abstaining too, Mr. Illingworth? It's the same
No,
date.
I voted aye on that.
You did, okay. All right, so Mr. Taylor abstains. And lastly, special meeting of May 20th, 2020. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Mr.
Abstain.
Taylor abstains. Mr. Taylor and Mr. Lombard abstain. Chairman's report, the only thing I have to report is that there was an item relating to uniform requirements for secondary school students. That was referred to the full board by the governance committee. That item has since been withdrawn at the request of the superintendent. So for anyone wondering, that's why it's not here. It's been withdrawn at the staff level. Beyond that, I have nothing further to report, so we'll go to committee reports and referrals. Facilities Committee, Mr. Illingworth, do you have anything to report?
Nothing to report, but we will be having a facilities meeting shortly after the reopening of schools.
Okay, any referrals for facilities? Finance Committee, Mr. Skolovic.
Finance Committee will be meeting at 6 p.m. on Wednesday at Harding High School. Current notice has Park City Magnet, but it will be changed.
When is that happening?
I think the clerk's office is closed.
No, when is the meeting? You didn't say.
Oh, so Wednesday.
Wednesday?
Wednesday, what's Wednesday?
26.
26. Okay.
Thank you.
What time? 6:30?
6.
6, okay. Are there any referrals for finance? Governance Committee, Mr. Illingworth?
Nothing to report. The one item that was referred was withdrawn, as you stated earlier.
Okay. Any referrals? Someone joined us? Looks like Dr. Jenkins is up there now. Teaching and learning?
Teaching and learning will meet tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Park City Magnet.
Okay. Park City?
6:30.
Park City or Harding?
Park City.
Park City.
Park City, okay. Any referrals for teaching and learning? Personnel Committee, there's nothing to report. Is there any referrals for personnel? Students and families, Mr. Benahan?
Student and family, I'm not the report chair, but I'm going to try to make the meeting this Thursday, the 27th, on Harding High School.
You're going to have it at Harding?
Yes.
Okay. Contracts Committees, nothing to report. Everything that was discussed over the summer was referred to the full board and voted on. Are there any referrals? Ad hoc Committee, Great City Schools, Males of Color. I believe we've resolved this to its end for the most part. Is that right?
Yes, but
There's a
I'd
little
like
work
to have
to be
another meeting or two just to wrap things up. And we still got some mentoring programs that need to be budgeted for and what have you.
Okay.
And I'd like to make a proposal for an additional committee, an offshoot of that committee at the next meeting.
Okay. Any referrals? Okay. Next is the superintendent's report. It's broken into two parts, general report and a public Q&A regarding district reopening. Mr. Testani, you have the floor.
It's just as far as the report, just want to inform the board on Wednesday, 10 a.m. at Harding High School. We will do our virtual convocation for all staff. We are all welcome to attend in person if you'd like. Myself, Ms. Batista, President of the BEA, Mr. Douglas, President of the BCAS. Will be present to speak to the staff live. There'll be a video clip submitted by Mayor Ganem. And I'm working on, and most likely there'll be also a video from Dr. Miguel Cardona, the Commissioner of Education. I'm just confirming with his people today. And hopefully there may be a video from Governor Ned Lamont as well. But you're all welcome to attend in person. It would be nice to at least have someone to speak to in the front. I know Ms. Batista and I both would prefer to have someone to speak directly to, which would be you guys. So please attend. It would be great to have you there.
This is Wednesday at 10?
Yes, and obviously, Mr. Weldon, as the chair of the board, you are also invited to speak to our staff as we welcome them back to an unprecedented, uncharted, but exciting time here in the Bridgeport Public Schools.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Testani? Okay. This is the public Q&A part.
I apologize. I thought you might have had more. I just on personnel. I see the hirings and dismissals. We just got the effective date of retirements. I think it'll be beneficial to know how long people are here. I mean, we used to get the start date and then the years of service. Because I know we got some 30-year people. And I see every single reason for separation is personal, and I know at least of two went for other employment. And that'll give us a idea of why people are leaving and how long they're sticking around. If they're like 5 years, obviously they're getting another job. If they're 30 years, they're at the end of their
Well,
career. And that'll-
the exit interviews are conducted as much as possible. Also, the letters of resignation, as they come in, many of them are not indicating if they're seeking other employment, if they are 5 years or under. But we do know the trend in education in recent years is that a lot of folks are leaving the profession within the first 5 years as well. Not to seek other employment opportunities, but to seek different employment opportunities. It is a tough profession. It's not getting any easier. There's a lot of demands on our staff, and many folks have decided to look to other professions.
Right. I just asked that a column be added for years of service.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Benahan.
sorry, but I'm going back, Mr. Joseph said about checking the separation and retiring some people. When they say reason, they're all personal. I understand it was something, health issue, we can say personal. But it's not the way you can, what are the reason, they leave, so we can know exactly, why, what was wrong, why we doing, or they doing, or.
Questions are asked, Mr. Benahan. A lot of times they're not disclosing the reasons why. And I think for professional reasons, many people do leave the door open. They leave on good terms. Never want to burn a bridge. You never know when there's an opportunity to return back to Bridgeport if things don't work out where they're at. And we appreciate that as well.
Thank you.
I have one more thing. Can't believe I almost forgot it. A while back, I referred to facilities changing the name of Columbus School. It was kicked back to the full board as for Mr. Sistani to conduct a survey of the parents and students of Columbus. I know we got a lot on our plate right now, but has anything been done with that? Has the survey even been constructed yet?
No, we are looking to sit down with Ms. Bagoli, principal of the school, and come up with a productive way to get something out to parents. We're hoping to do that once we get school started. It's been a challenge to get survey results.
Right.
So we're hoping as we get into September that opportunity will then be put out to the students, the families, and also the staff of Columbus School.
I'm more concerned with the students I'm not really as concerned with staff, because staff will work in the building. No matter what it's named, they're not really affected. And neither are when we had the Harding thing, we had a lot of graduates talking about their past memories and their fond memories. And we need to think about the kids that are going forward, that are going to be going forward, and put less emphasis on the people who already passed through, who might want to remember Christopher Columbus fondly. But if the name of the school does change, it takes nothing away from their memories. It just corrects some incorrectness. Some of the things I see, they're kind of sad. It all goes to the miseducation. We got people weeping under the statue that actually.
I understand. I'd like to include the community there because, as you know, it is embedded in a highly populated Portuguese community. So I think that having them weigh in on possible options for names would also be extremely important because, as you know, it is a very strong Portuguese community in that Columbus school.
Yeah, as far as names going forward, but as far as removing the name, I think that should only be within the school community itself.
You got it.
Thank you.
Okay. Q&A? All right.
Katie Smuckler, you have now been added to the meeting. You may go ahead and proceed. Hi, I have a question about the school reopenings as it pertains to ventilation. I'm wondering what the current filter systems that, are that are being used, if there's a MERV 13s or if those have been replaced into all the ventilation systems in the schools.
The filters are between MERV 8 and 13, depending on the unit and what the unit calls for.
Did that answer your question, ma'am? Is she still there?
Question was answered.
All right. Was there someone else? Okay.
What they want to know, what filters?
Filter, yes. I mean,
Type of filter.
8 to 13 is highly effective. And with HVAC system, it's also the frequency of. Okay.
Okay. All right, so the Q&A is over. There's no old business to be conducted, nor,
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, a point of personal privilege, if I may.
okay.
I mean, my email and my phone has been bombarded. There was only 2 people for a question and answer here. I just wanted, I forgive me, but as much response as I got from people, it's hard for me to swallow that there was only 2 questions and one of them got disconnected and the other hung up or whatever. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just saying only 2.
Well, to that point, today I did a Facebook Live this morning that had about 700 viewers. And then at 12 o'clock, I did a walkthrough that was also broadcast live and the News 12 at Central High School with Faith Acts for Education. And there was I don't know how many viewers on that, but there was also another hour and 15 minutes of questions. So that may have helped get some of the questions and answered during those 2 periods today.
Just to be clear, that was in no way reflected.
No, I just wanted, I think that may have been one of the reasons why, like I said, this morning at 10 o'clock, there was over 700 folks that were tuned in. Many parents, and the BEA has worked closely to try to get all other questions answered. And we're,
If I may, Mr. Chair, I just had one particular question,
Yeah.
if it's appropriate. Some of my constituents were concerned, is it going to be half-day for the 4 days back? What is it?
right now, the first day is a half day, depending on, we're watching the weather closely. Just like we get updates throughout the winter months with storms and snow, we're getting also heat advisories now. So as we get closer, if it looks like it's going to be extremely hot and air quality is going to be unhealthy in certain buildings, we'll have to make adjustments, whether it's a half day or a cancellation.
And not to paint you in a corner or be combative, what's the consensus on what is the threshold for a hot day or bad air quality? What are we looking at?
Depending on the building, I mean, if we're hitting in the mid 80s, we may have a problem. Also, where it drops in the evening as well. If we're getting in the low 60s, a half day would probably be beneficial. If we're staying in the 70s at night, we may have to do a cancellation because it's not going to cool the building down. I can tell you right now, the 3rd floor at Bassick High School is something that I'll be watching closely. For my years there, it gets extremely hot and unbearable. And if we have to make a call, that would be one of the ones we're watching extremely closely is Bassick High School.
Now, just a clarification, I apologize for my ignorance. If you were to close Bassick for a half day, is that the whole district a half day or just that
It
school?
would just be schools that would require it. So if we did all the schools without air conditioning, we would do a blanket.
Okay.
But that one would get the hottest the soonest, so that kind of would be something that would help us gauge. So we would err on the side of caution, especially with the cancellation. Just like we've done with storms, those schools then would be the ones that would make the days up, while the other ones would end sooner at the end of the year.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question through you to Mr.? Oh, sorry.
Mr. Sokolovic raised his hand, then we'll get to you, Mr. Lombard.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
To piggyback on what Mr. Taylor said, I think it's a testament to the Facebook Lives and to the information that has been given out. And it'll behoove us to think about that going forward with every issue, because when the public is informed, they understand. I mean, they got so much information, so much knowledge and facts that we showed up to a meeting, there was no protesters outside. So I think it does a lot to alleviate the misinformation out there and correct people and get them more comfortable with what's going on.
And I think it's only my recommendation, I'm not telling you what to do, but I think it would be good, just as a general practice, to, once things get up to speed, give up an hour on a Friday morning for a Facebook Live for anything that's coming up. And it becomes a regular thing that people become used to, and before things get out of hand with a lot of rumors and innuendo, you're able to just dispel everything with fact. It's my own personal recommendation.
That's the plan. We took a couple of weeks off, obviously, for the summer months, and there was a lot of uncertainty, and to try to give out information, especially at a time where the information is extremely fluid in some cases, becomes difficult because people hear one thing today, and as things change over the course of even a couple of days, it's confusing. So I think at this point, if we stay to a weekly broadcast, it would be extremely helpful to our parents and our families, and even our staff who have an opportunity to weigh in and listen in.
Okay. Mr. Lombard, you had something?
Yes, I just wanted to ask again about the cancellations due to weather. Are we able to keep classes going virtually during those times if they're not in the building?
It's something that we can consider. I think it's going to be a little difficult at the first couple of days of school, but if that's something that extends out, then I think we may have to look into that so we're not making up too many days on the back end where it also starts to get warm.
Yeah, it just seems to me that, if we have that, we're doing that anyway. Is it necessary to, cancel school for the day?
I think it's one of the things that people are now looking to. Maybe we don't need to have snow days anymore. Maybe we don't need to do these other things. I'm hoping at this point the state gives us some sort of leeway in the number of days. We're at 177. Possibly that could change. Maybe they would reconsider. I know people have requested that they reconsider, even with some of the planning after the storm a couple of weeks ago that derailed some of the folks' planning in some of the hard-hit communities. So we're hoping that we can get a little relief there as well.
Mr. Chair?
Thank you.
For Illingworth?
Yeah, just as far as our devices, what is the total number to date on new devices that the district has received?
The new, roughly, Jeff, would you say brand new that we purchased, the city purchased, the donation from the partnership is, well, just total, it's about 10,000 devices that were purchased and donated from partnership. A little more. Oh, that's right, the tab. About 11,000.
And that will be distributed to the high school students first, and then...
Well, the high school students have their dedicated Dell computers that were donated by the Connecticut Partnership exclusively for high school.
Okay.
We have no discretion on grade level.
And was that enough? That wasn't enough for all the high school students, was it?
It was enough.
It was enough. Okay.
We're good.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, Ms. Brown?
I just wanted to say that I also participated in the virtual session that you did at the school today. I was online when it happened,
good.
so
What'd you
I just
think
want to
of
speak
that?
to your point to Mr. Taylor, that I thought it was very informational. I will say that volume may be something that we need. I understood you, but I can read through the comments that other people couldn't, but that's not of your control. But I did think that it was very It was well. It went
Thank
really
you.
well,
Thank you.
just from just seeing and then reading the comments. Some of the stuff you were answering, people didn't catch till later, but I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. There was a couple of phones up, so I wasn't sure, I think, which one to talk into, which was the one
Mhm.
people were listening in on.
Yeah, and still keeping in mind social distancing. So that was another thing. Once people understood why they probably couldn't hear you as well, I thought, they got the point.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Mr. Benahan, did you have your hand up? Or were you just,
It was mine.
okay. All right, is there anything else? Okay, there's no other actionable items to consider, so I'll seek a motion to adjourn. Moved by Ms. Brown, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Benahan, all in favor?
Aye.
We are done.
Abstain.
Abstain, Taylor. Time is noted as being 7:26. Thank you.
You love us.
I should hope so.